Hello folks, and welcome to another video. Slightly controversial, as most of our Thursday and Tuesday ones are, but hey, it's time for a 40k rant, or at least a rant on the wider state of certain parts of the hobby that we all know and love. Right now I'm looking at my Void Talons, my Space Marine chapter sitting on the desk in front of me, ready to be painted and based. Well, just based now, we've got a few more things to do before they are ready for the tabletop action that I'm trying to get them involved in this weekend. And once they are ready to go, they will be indeed ready to go. There is a model on the YouTube channel, maybe even have a little look at that if you want to know what the custom chapter is going to look like on the channel. It is on our community page here on YouTube, so go and have a look over there. If you want to get any models for yourself, make sure you use the promo code Northern Exile down below at Composite Games on their store to get yourself 5% off your order at checkout. If you're going into the festive period, it's a really cool thing for you to do to save some money going into that time frame. Also, if you could help me grow, that would be amazing. If you could subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and if you're not, if you could pass my channel around to people you may think will get a real kick out of what I do, then please make sure you do that, because it helps the channel grow. We are so close to 15,000 subscribers. If you want to be one of those people, all you need to do is click the subscribe button, and you'll get me towards that goal I had for this year all along. 15,000 subscribers. If we can get there a month early, that will light such a fire, man. That'll be so awesome. Anyway, let's get into the topic of the video, shall we? Games Workshop shills are the worst. Let me take a little bit of a sip of tea here. Those of you who are old hands at the channel will know that way back in the day, I did a very similar video a few years ago now on why Games Workshop shilling is really bad and shouldn't be a thing in the community. Since then, nothing has changed. In fact, things have gotten a little bit worse. As then, we did that video because an NDA from Games Workshop had leaked, and it showed how draconian and top-down the demands were for content creators if you wanted free stuff from Games Workshop. And there was a big uproar at the time, and I knew it would go away. I kind of knew that eventually people would forget and get on with their lives, and I would have to come back with another video like this, ranting and moaning about the fact that the space here on YouTube, in terms of the hobby, you need to be very careful with, because sometimes people are outright lying to you. First of all, though, we need to define what is a Games Workshop shill, at least to me. Well, it may be harsh, but I define a Games Workshop shill on YouTube as anybody who accepts free products from Games Workshop to make a video. The more insidious are, of course, the channels who get free things without even doing a video on them. There are dozens like that. Absolutely dozens who get free stuff from Games Workshop and don't even tell you about them. If Composite Games ever released like their own product, I'm not sure I'd be the guy to review it, because I get free things from Composite Games, so I really can't review their stuff. It wouldn't be impartial, right? Okay. Same thing goes for Games Workshop. Exactly the same thing goes for Games Workshop. This is called bribery, folks. It is Games Workshop keeping a select number of curated creators happy so that their opinions of Games Workshop and their products will always be tinged with positive feeling. If you accept from these things from Games Workshop, if you accept their worthless stock as an open bribe to make a video or to keep it for yourself, you are a shill. No one should take your opinions on their wider hobby seriously. This may seem harsh, as I said, but let's examine in the rest of the video why that's the case. And the reason why I say their stock is worthless, it's not to me and you. To me and you, it's not. We love our models, and we'll pay good money for them, because we love our hobby. To Games Workshop, though, they're worthless. Less than worthless. They don't care. They could throw these things under a bus, they could go onto that bus and give them away willy-nilly just to get people invested in the hobby. They have done so before. I've done so before. When I was at Games Workshop, I was told to walk around our local shopping centre with boxes of Space Marines and just give them away to people walking around with an invitation to come down to the store if they want to learn how to build and paint them. All the time. Yeah, I was asked to solicit families in public which is not something you want to do, and is kind of illegal. But hey, Games Workshop don't care about laws, because we wouldn't be here if they did, because open bribery is also illegal. Let's get into it, shall we? The bought and paid for people. Alright, let's say you've been approached by Games Workshop and they want to give you something for your time to make a review of one of their products. If you accept products from Games Workshop or access to them, then you, as I said earlier, are bound to think of them in a positive light. It can't be helped. In gaming, this is different. In video gaming, this is different because video games are now a mainstream thing. They've had their Gamergate moment. They've had their moment when gaming journalism was held over a fire, when they said, this is not good enough, you are all corrupt, right? Because that was when gaming was advancing from being a niche hobby into being a mainstream hobby. And now it's mainstream. You can get a key for a video game and lambast it and hate it all you want, and you'll probably, if the developer's pretty good, you'll probably still get a key from that developer. And if they're not, then you tell people, I can't get a key from them because I wasn't very nice about their game. Simple stuff. Again, shitty behaviour still happens in gaming, but it's nowhere near as bad as in Warhammer, because, guys, unlike gaming, we are still a niche hobby. We're still held captive, almost, by Games Workshop's ploys and their schemes. There's not much of a recourse against us. Where else do you go but Games Workshop if you want to play a game like Warhammer? Again, other people will tell you there's loads of games out there, but in terms of the wide appeal and the amount of games available to play against other people, no one really holds a candle to them. Do you know what I mean? Rather than treating them as a corporation trying to sell you a good or a service, you are instead looking at them as valued co-workers and peers, which they are not. It is a one-way relationship. Games Workshop pay you off, they bribe you with free stuff. You create a video that at worst is average, you know what I mean? And at best for them is open praise and positivity, because they're honoured that you're even speaking to them. I'm going to tell you now, if any of you guys actually worked for Games Workshop, the veneer of Games Workshop would come off straight away. Literally straight away. Within a few days, you'd be like, this sucks. These people fucking suck. Right? I'm telling you now. You wish you worked for them. If you're a YouTuber and you've never worked for them before and you're getting given stuff by Games Workshop, you wished you worked for them. Take it from somebody who did. Don't. If you are a smaller YouTube channel and you rely on Games Workshop products to do your job of reviewing them, then you are in big trouble. You are in big trouble. Because if you lose your access to the Games Workshop freebies, you need to get it just like the rest of us. You need to get in line, get in the queue, pay full price, which eats into your bottom line, because not only are you paying for the models, but you're behind schedule because you didn't get early access to the models you're reviewing. It takes that insider mystique away from your channel. How can you seriously say that you are not corrupted by this interaction? You can't. If you are a larger YouTube channel and accept these gifts, quote unquote, you are much more an insidious animal. You have a wide reach, and Games Workshop will often send you anything you ask for to review or look at, but that review will never be negative. All of you will know a YouTuber like this. You will sit there at the camera with a fake and cheesy smile plastered across your face. You'll give each other ridiculous nicknames like you're 5 years old or something, and act like you're a guest on Blue Peter or Playdays. If you're a UK kid, you know what I mean. That's the one thing that some of these channels really irk me about. They look at the camera with its fake plastic smile, and they talk to you like you're 5 years old. Hey guys, have you seen? No, I'm sorry, no. It just rubs me up the wrong way. It sends a shiver down my spine. All the while, you're lying to your audience about the value of the product you are shilling for, and covering up, quite frankly, the near criminal nature of how Games Workshop operates in this sphere. Are they underpaying and abusing their staff? Not your problem, is it? Are they rapidly increasing prices that greedily gouge the shrinking hobby space for a quick buck? That's not your issue, is it, mate? Sabotaging their own games with terrible law and rules without ever actually learning any lessons from them? Not your problem, is it? Games Workshop refusing to advance with the times when there are other, better alternatives to their games out there these days? Not your problem. Not your problem. Just keep smiling and nodding and holding up the next Primara Space Marine box that just dropped. Collect your ad revenue and your freebies. Rinse and repeat. They are terrible, terrible, terrible channels that you shouldn't put any stock in. Okay? That's rich coming from me, I know. But hey, I'm based in mental health and nonsense. And I'm upfront with that fact. And the one sponsorship I have curated, and that I do have with Composite Games, is one that I use myself, that I know and I trust, and I like the people there. They're very nice people. You know, they're a small company who needs a helping hand, and I'm happy to give it. It's a symbiotic relationship. It's a very, very, very good relationship. There is a very good reason why I turn down almost 100% of the sponsorship deals I get given. Almost 100%. Either I don't believe that it's actually them contacting me, which has happened more than once, with VPNs, like NordVPN, you know, I'm really sorry, guys. I will do it one day. I will do a sponsorship one day. But most of the time, I don't believe it's actually you contacting me. I think it's a scam, you know? You've got to be very careful about these things. But there are other things out there, like, yeah, but Composite Games is one that I've curated because I trust them, and I believe in their products, I believe in their store, and I believe in what they're doing, right? That's one thing. And I would never review one of their own things. If they made their own game, I wouldn't review it. I'd tell you about it. I'd tell you that I was sponsored to do it, but I wouldn't review it. I'd just tell you about it and that it was there if you wanted to go and buy it. That's what I would do. I'd be honest about me being a mouthpiece for their store, but I wouldn't try and give you an impartial, quote-unquote, review, because that would be wrong, and that would be lying to you. If the audience that you have as a YouTuber needs to adjust your aggregate score because of your inherent biases, then your channel fucking sucks and you're a shill. I have seen shill YouTubers give a terrible Games Workshop product a barely average review and seen people in their comments be like, wow, if they're not praising it, then it must be awful. If your 6 out of 10 for a Games Workshop product is a 2 out of 10 for anybody else, your channel is a bit of a joke and you've been paid off. That's just the sad reality you've created for yourself. No one should ever take a word you have to say about the hobby seriously, or at least they should take it with a massive pinch of salt. A huge pinch of salt. This is where we are. The vast majority of people showing you products on YouTube, whether they've got them from Army Painter, whether they've gotten them from Games Workshop, they've got them for free. They can't be giving you an unbiased opinion. They can't. Which is why I really value other gaming channels in video games where they review games that are years old. You know, they are precious because they've not been paid at all. They're passionate about this game, about how good or bad it is, and they'll tell you about it. The amount of really cool gaming experiences I've had over the years have all been from people who've talked about old games that've got a bad rep, like Vampire the Masquerade, for instance, that have a bad rep. There are gems, and I go and buy them myself for cheap, and I really enjoy them because the review is unbiased, it's all there, and it does the good and bad parts about it, and it's all there, warts and all. You can't do that in this hobby. Why? Because, one, it's very subjective, more subjective than gaming. You either like a model set or you don't, and number two, it's almost impossible to review a really old model, although people do them. People do them. It's really hard to review a really old model and get loads of clicks for it. Okay. The NDA, the non-disclosure agreement, or non-disparagement agreement, as it's been called sometimes, that YouTubers are meant to sign before getting into bed with Games Workshop, is borderline criminal. It's not quite as criminal as the wages they pay their staff, or the way they treat them, but it is almost there because it could easily, and has been, leaked. We've seen this. I'm not going to put it here. It's on Google. Go and have a little look at the Games Workshop non-disclosure agreement for YouTubers. It's all there. You can go and read it. There are certain bits that are redacted, I think. I don't think it's been taken down. I did look at it for this video, so I think it should be still there a few days later. Anyway, it is extremely restrictive, and, in all honesty, is mostly par the course for this kind of agreement, unfortunately. It is, though, uniquely draconian in a very Games Workshop way. It speaks very vaguely about, statements that disparage the company, and then conveniently they refuse to give examples or guidelines for what kind of statement that could be. Effectively giving Games Workshop carte blanche to take away your access at any time if they do not like something you've said in your video. Every creator who gets free stuff from Games Workshop reads and signs this NDA. Remember that the next time you watch any YouTuber who mentions they got something early from Games Workshop. If they say thank you to Games Workshop for sending me this early so I could review it for you, switch off the video. Switch off the video. They've signed this NDA, they can no longer be trusted. If a YouTuber told you they got stuff sent in early to review for their channel, they signed this document. Be very mindful of who you listen to on this platform and why. We lost a real one back in the day with Total Biscuit. Segue, right? Video game journalism, for me, has never been the same without him. While I didn't agree with everything he said, he was an advocate for the consumer in gaming. We don't have a Total Biscuit in the hobby because they would never be allowed anywhere near Games Workshop in the first place, and that is a damn shame. We have no consumer advocate here. I try to be your advocate in terms of mental health and your well-being in the hobby and your hobby experience, but I'll never do it in terms of being, an actual paid person from Games Workshop ever. No, not for me, thank you. But we do need customer representation at that level. We do need somebody to step up and say, I will be that person. I will review these models completely above board. I will receive these things from Games Workshop, and if your product isn't good enough, I'm going to lambast it. And the minute Games Workshop withdraw your access, tell people why. Go online and say, I reviewed this product negatively from Games Workshop. They've now removed my access, so I'm no longer going to get these things. If you want complete legitimacy in this sphere, right? Go ahead. Get into bed with Games Workshop. Go ahead. But review their things honestly. If you did that, you would be a made man after that. Your channel would be made. You would be everybody would be like, that's a trustworthy guy. Games Workshop don't want to touch him anymore. They let him in once. He was honest with them, and now they don't want to know. So anytime this guy says a model's good or something else is good, I value his opinion. But nobody does that, though, do they? Nobody does that. They get into bed with Games Workshop. They get blinded by who they're speaking to. They feel like they're honoured just to be in contact with them, and they bend over a barrel for them. And that's disgusting. It leads to very, very murky waters. That's where it leads to. So, this is the muddying of the waters here on YouTube. My closing thoughts must be that as a content provider on this platform, you need to be very careful about who you get into bed with and why, just like in the real world, folks. As consumers, this hobby is already ridiculously expensive to the point of memery. Special care must be taken to ensure that the creators you are listening to have your best interests at heart. Many of them will have the best of intentions, but accepting Games Workshop's sticky and, quite frankly, repulsive need to control the narrative means that even with the best of intentions in mind, these creators are essentially feeding you well-meaning half-truths at best and outright lies at worst. Never accept a platform that does not want to provide a balanced argument to you. If a channel is totally positive about Games Workshop or skates over their bad practices, walk away. Walk. Alright? I want to end this video with a short list of creators I think do a great job of providing you with undiluted hobby knowledge, customer advocacy, and untainted opinions. If your favorite YouTuber is not on here, I've likely never seen them before or just forgotten. There are no law YouTubers on this list, because my favorite YouTubers, people like Amber King, people like Pancreas No Work, people like that, they are all law YouTubers, right? So they will not be on this list. So, number 1, mini wargaming. I love mini wargaming. They literally have that cozy Thursday night feel on their channel of all the lads getting together, rolling some dice. Each and every single one of the people on that channel, you can tell, are real people. They're funny people. They laugh, they joke, and they don't have these fake smiles plastered on all the time. They're real dudes who love the hobby and have put a whole load of money and expertise into building their own sphere online. If you want to know how to create a massive hobby channel, mini wargaming are the ones to go and watch. They're amazing, they're cool, and they give you an honest representation about what models you're buying, what's cool and what's not. They even provide viable alternatives to certain models that are in the sphere. They have, as well, gone on record with their disgust on certain Games Workshop practices on their own channel, which I think's marvellous. Brilliant stuff. Number 2, Chapter Master Valrak. Now, Valrak gets a bad rep, but he doesn't deserve it. I'm going to tell you why. Valrak is the daddy. He is the dad of the hobby here on YouTube. He is basically the guy who chuckles along and loves the hobby. Just because he loves something doesn't mean he's some sort of shill. He gets shill rack all the time. I don't like it. It's lazy. You've not watched this shit if you say things like that. This guy is a guy who just loves models. He loves models, and he does talk about Games Workshop shitty practices when they come around. Things like price rises, things like models that have been reused from other sets. He talks about them when they come up. The fact of the matter is, he just loves the hobby and doesn't want to fill his channel with negativity. Really good channel, go and check him out. Number 3, Discourse Miniatures. Now this is somebody who quite readily fills her channel up with negativity, but in a good way. She is a very uncompromising YouTuber who literally has standards that she set up there, and if anybody falls beneath them, then she goes out of her way to call it out and make sure that it's there. I can't watch her videos when I'm in a bad mood, because it just makes me worse. But if I'm in a really good mood and I really want to get into a discussion or listen to something where something interesting is going on, or there's some sort of Games Workshop thing that I haven't listened to in a while that they've done wrong, and I want to get up to speed on it, I always go and watch Discourse Miniatures. She's really cool, and she actually paints Black Templars pretty well as well, so go and have a look at her. Number 4, Mordian Glory. Love Mordian. Done a video with him once. Really nice guy. Very shouty, I will say that. I need to turn his videos down every now and again because he's very shouty. But he's a guardsman, and guardsmen shout a lot. I'm sorry, guys. You know, it's the gunfire. You know, the kind of death. They need to shout. But I will say each and every single one of his videos is tinged with the fact that he just loves this hobby. And there have been times out there, the video that I did with him was one of those occasions where he openly talks about the shitty things that he thinks Games Workshop has done and how they can correct their course. This is not a shill, this is somebody who loves this hobby and has a very distinct hobby channel where he talks about all different kinds of things, which I think is really cool. That he doesn't just stick to Games Workshop, he gives you alternatives like Bolt Action and other games like that he plays on his channel that I think are really cool. In fact, his channel got me into Bolt Action. And if you can get me into Bolt Action, I'm a history teacher. I fucking hate World War II, can't stand it, loathe it to bits. Can't stand it, hate it, I don't want to talk about it ever again. Like, I talked about it for years, I don't want to talk about it ever again. But I will say, if you can get me into, you know, Bolt Action from your channel, you're doing a good job. Number 5, The Outer Circle. You guys know my history with The Outer Circle. We've done a few videos together, and we always have a laugh. He is basically very much like Discourse in the fact that he will call shit out when he needs to, but The Outer Circle is a precious YouTuber, because At the end of the day, he has a lot of expertise in the model making process, and that is incredibly rare here on YouTube. So if he tells you a model set isn't up to snuff, that's coming from a technical standpoint. That's coming from somebody who knows what he's talking about when it comes to making molds and making models and the process of going through that kind of a thing. It's very, very, very important that you listen to the things he has to say on certain model sets because, quite frankly, Games Workshop cut a lot of corners. He is a Horus Heresy player all the way through. So if you like that kind of content, you like that as well. He is very uncompromising. But what I will say is, just like Discourse, but definitely in Outer Circle, if there is a positive to bring out, he will talk about it. If he comes across a model he likes, he will make an entire video on it, on what he likes about it. Or they'll be involved in another video where there's pros and cons to a new Games Workshop release. It's just the fact that Games Workshop, quite frankly, most of the time, if you know what you're looking for, they release substandard products. And he's somebody who calls it out. He's been called really negative and really toxic. He's not, man. He's not. He's just telling the truth from his own point of view, and he's a voice that we desperately need in the community to make sure that we have balanced videos. We need people on here who will tell the truth, even if it's just their own opinion. Okay? Cool. Next, Northern Knights Gaming. A very small channel, this one. Smaller than mine even, but they have a top name. They're men of culture, and their channel is absolutely fantastic. For the size of the channel that it is, these guys deserve far more credit and far more subscribers. So head on over to Northern Knights Gaming if you want to support another smaller YouTuber like myself who's trying to make his way in, or make their way in the hobby. Really good battle reports. Really good enthusiasm in the hobby. It's all very natural. They remind me of an early mini wargaming. Take all of the grandiose and the money that they've made and all of the production quality from mini wargaming and tone it down to when they only had like 5,000 to 10,000 subscribers, and you've got Northern Knights Gaming. Really good channel, really good stuff. I watch them all the time. And last but not least, Nurgling, a really cool channel that subscribed to me ages ago. They were one of the first subscribers to my channel, and I've been back and forth with them a few times way back in the day talking about different things. Really nice channel, amazing hobby content, really funny. The sense of humour over there is great. They don't shill. They give you honest opinions because, again, people like me, people my size, we never think we're going to be contacted by Games Workshop anyway, so we don't give a shit. We'll just give you the honest opinions on what we're going to be finding out and seeing, right? I know I'm never going to be approached because they know, you know, we have bad history. So I know. So I'm going to give you the what's up every single time. I don't give a shit. But there are people out there of different sizes of YouTubers who are trying to make their way on this platform who are absolutely fun to listen to, and Nurgling is one of those people. All right? Okay. Again, that was not an exhaustive list, and there were some pretty obscure channels in there, I know, but I like to watch these people, and I trust what they have to say about the hobby. Type them in your search bar and give them a look if you haven't done so already. What do you think? Are there any people that I've missed off that list? What do you think of Shills in the hobby? Do you think it's as big of a problem as I think it is? Or do you think I'm just being some curmudgeonly old man and waving around my newspaper on my front lawn at all the kids, what they're doing these days, and now it's all rubbish? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'll be back tomorrow with some more hobby nightmares. We have a few really, really fun ones tomorrow, including one really long one that deals with games and certain things going wrong on the tabletop. I'm not going to spoil it. It's going to be a good one. I'll see you tomorrow. Love you long time. See you then. Bye now.